Hi everybody, welcome to our Saturday program. And because it's a Saturday and because we've changed things a bit, the cleaner will be here today, zipping in and out. And I've even got a few cats here as well. See if this one wants to say hello. Do you want to say hello? No, that's not going to happen. So welcome to everybody for our live stream. We've got some quite big and a few quite important stories. We should say hello to David Hodgson. We should say hello to Jack Dobson. Kurt, Hans, good to see you there as usual. What else have we got? Thug Life, Smoke from Seven Orifices. Great. And we've got Scott D. Scott, thank you for reposting that question. I'll try and get to that. It's a really complicated one. And Ken RQ, Nimble Jack, JS in Melbourne, Grunt Max, Mark W. So I'm going to start off just by going through some of the stories today. And I'm by myself today because Nick, I can't remember what it was, something to do with a temple. I think it's one of his friends may be becoming a monk. And so he had to attend to that this morning, a very important part of a young Thai person's life, Thai man's life anyway. So let's go into some stories, and this one's going to affect us all. So it says that parties warned to keep their... Oh, no, that's not the one. Where's the one I want? No, where's... Oh, we'll do another story instead. Oh dear, you see, this is what happens when you're doing it all by yourself. So, parties warned to keep their campaign banners from blocking public access. Now, this is an interesting one because we've got the election on now, and every time there's an election, all the roads are adorned with these cheap vinyl banners, and they put them onto sort of 1 by 1 inch, it's about 2.5 by 2.5 centimetre, bits of timber, flimsy little frame. And they, if there's any wind or if there's any moisture or rain or anything, even the cars, just the whoosh of the car driving past, if it's a big truck, whoosh, they blow over and they're gone. And they just adorn every single road around Thailand, and they'll be there for the next 3 or 4 weeks. And then after the election, they're usually there for another 3 or 4 weeks. Sort of getting tattier and falling over and flapping in the breeze. And because we've got the wet season on the way, it'll probably arrive sometime the next 3 or 4 weeks. It's just going to exacerbate the problem. So anyway, Thai PBS saying the parties have been warned to keep their campaign banners from blocking public access. And the Bangkok governor is warning political parties just to try and keep their campaign posters and banners orderly. So not only do they just get all the way through every road, but in a place like Bangkok, they start blocking traffic lanes. They start blocking road signs and things, and it just gets really ridiculous. People find it hard to walk around, and it just gets worse and worse. And the closer we get to the election, the more desperate the politicians get, the worse the banners, the worse the banner situation is. He said city officials will remove campaign banners which obstruct public access, adding, however, that they'll be as lenient as possible in order not to spoil the electioneering atmosphere. And so, yeah, we're well into the campaign for this year. And, haven't had an election here since, a general election since 2014. But every time there's a provincial or district election, just watching Cato, who's... hearing birds and is very interested in trying to find some extra breakfast. So the campaign banners are out there in force. Let's go to what's been an ongoing story for the past 3 or 4 months. Do you want to say hello? Say hello.
Hello?
Yeah. There she goes. New YouTube star. And doing a great job. Okay. Go to Thai PBS World once again, and Thai, Myanmar and Lao PMs to cooperate more closely on cross-border haze. Yeah? Do you think they're really going to get together and nut this out? So the leaders of Thailand, Laos and Myanmar agreed that the 3 ASEAN countries must cooperate closely and within the ASEAN framework to cope more effectively with the transboundary haze problem and to reduce hotspots in the region. And so it was not only PM or the caretaker Prime Minister, Prayut Chan-o-cha, also the Prime Minister of Laos and the head of the junta, who of course is unelected in Myanmar. They met on a video conference to discuss the PM 2.5 dust problem. And of course, the air quality index has just exploded over the past month. We'll check out today's readings in just a moment. Thanks, KJ. Yes, she's a good lady. So Thailand, Myanmar and Laos is currently the worst in the world, and there's no exaggeration in that. During the meeting, the Prime Minister Prayut proposed that the transboundary haze issue should be raised at the 42nd ASEAN Summit. Raising it at the summit, that will solve everything. Really? So more talk. And at the same time, people are waking up in the north of Thailand and in northern Laos as well, and they're barely able to breathe breathable air. You would have thought it's pretty much a human right, but because of the selfish practices of some of these farmers and the contracts they have signed with some of these multinational companies, they're forced to do the cheapest and obviously environmentally the worst way of getting rid of their agricultural waste. So more talk, but at least it has been raised as a matter. It is a transboundary border matter, and we'll see why. This is this morning, and it's from IQ Air. And again, Chiang Mai. Oh, good heavens, what going all over the place. Chiang Mai, the worst city in the world. Now, some people have been saying during the week, well, not just Chiang Mai, what about all those cities in Laos? And we can see that there's no actual monitoring in Laos for one reason or another, but clearly they would register a lot higher. It's just of the cities that they list, Chiang Mai is the worst, so it gets a bad rap there, and with not very good company there. But you can also see on that map that there are quite a few areas around the border of Thailand. You've got Chiang Rai here and you've got Chiang Mai here, that right around those border areas are particularly bad and suffering the most. Go to a wider picture and you can see Southeast Asia there. You've got China there with a lot of yellow, India on the left side of the screen. But that I suppose, swathe through northwestern Myanmar, and then you've got northern Thailand and northern Laos, even into northern Vietnam, is not just the worst in Southeast Asia, but it's the worst air pollution in the world. And it's been like that for the past 2 or 3 months. I would have thought it's utterly intolerable. And we've even got a situation where there's apologists, some journalists up there in northern Thailand that don't like the bad publicity and trying to explain it away with a whole lot of pathetic excuses. There should be no tolerance about this level of smoke affecting so many people's lives. And we do hope that these discussions with the government leaders will lead to something. I'm just betting. I mean, this situation is going to improve over the next month. The rains will start. The new planting season will start. Next year, I'll be talking about exactly the same things. That's my fear. Now, we'll just check some of your comments on today's program. I'll just scroll back a bit here. I'm doing it all by myself. Hi, JS in Melbourne. Gruntmax. Rick G. Mike Bish, morning Tim from the dark side. Hello. Yeah, I've been coughing for weeks, says Jack Dobson. Can't shake it off. Took antibiotics, but can't shift it. Well, if this poor air quality is continuing, your cough isn't going to get better either. Stefan says, oh my God, I'm late. What have I missed? Nothing really. And what have we got? Jason Melbourne saying, how is the Prime Minister elected? Is the party that wins the most seats that decides who do you think is the front runner? Okay, well, it's a bit off topic, but if a party in Thailand with this new 2017 constitution gets 50% of the vote plus one, they can nominate their preferred prime minister, their prime ministerial candidate as the prime minister. It's over. But if one party doesn't get 50% of the vote plus one, and that's the situation because there are so many parties in Thailand, Then a joint sitting of the Parliament, which includes the 500 MPs in the lower house, plus the 250 senators, get together to decide who they want to be the PM. Obviously, they're going to look at the party that got the most votes in their prime ministerial candidates, and they sort of get, the first preference, if you like. But remember, the 250 senators are hand-picked by the junta at the time that had the coup in Thailand back in 2014. They're old army hacks and former Thai army generals and friends of the Prime Minister. So they may, you could imagine, all vote en masse with the current Prime Minister. He's a Prime Ministerial candidate for one of the parties. And then he would become the elected Prime Minister, elected by a joint sitting of Parliament. Now, the situation there, though, is that the ruling party in the lower house, the one that actually forms the government, will be per Thai, move forward, and perhaps a whole lot of independents. But I think those two parties and a few independents are likely to form government. So it's going to be quite an interesting situation. But the Prime Minister is not necessarily that powerful, although the Prime Minister Prayut, because he was the former coup leader, does have that extra amount of power. But it's really the MPs and the bills they put up and the way they're voted on that actually forms the powerhouse of what gets voted on. Let's see what happens. Please hit the like button, says Joe. I couldn't agree more. And by the way, we're sort of closing in on 20,000. And as Nick and I discussed last week, we are going to do something when we get to 20,000. I think it'll involve 5-star Marine. And we've got the vacuum cleaner coming out. So that's going to be fun. I think we're going to be vacuuming upstairs. You can come around the back, it's okay. With the vacuum cleaner and going upstairs. Well, it's my living room. This is what happens. So, what were we talking about? Oh, the 20,000. And I think we're going to get Nick to do a cooking demonstration for his special fried rice, which he boasts about. What about India? India isn't as bad, not even close to as bad as the north of Thailand, north of Laos, and north of Vietnam. Good evening from Green Bay, Wisconsin to the Snives. Hello to you. And Tim, I live in Udon Thani province, says Steve EC, 2 kilometres from a wood end mountain. And then a few days you can't see it. It's never been this bad, and I've lived here a long time. I think everybody is saying that it's never been that bad. So it's just cane burning, asks Vince Majestic. No, it's corn. Can you hear the vacuum cleaner there? I don't think it's too bad. I'll just talk louder. But, we're going to close the doors. There we go. So, yeah, it's mostly corn, maize, and sugar cane, but also rice and other things as well. Scott D, I smashed that like button for the cleaning woman's guest appearance, and she deserves it. Okay, Francisco Mart, get up and go. Good morning, Tim, from Malaysia. Taking a breather from the air in Jomtien. Thanks for the news content. Yeah, even, of course, places like Pattaya and Bangkok had pretty bad air pollution this year. It gets blown down from the north when the wind's coming from the north and northeast. The winds are going to start going around. They've started going around here in Phuket rather than the easterly airflow that we get right throughout the hot season. It's been going around to the northwest over the past week, so it is starting to shift and will eventually settle in the southwest for the southwest monsoon. Tim's broadcast studio. Well, it is my broadcast studio, but it's also my living room. I've got one person staying here at the moment, and I've got another 2 coming for Songkran. We're sort of going to be booked out in Fortress Newton, so that's going to be an interesting situation. Is it Uncle Roger approved fried rice, asks Hans. This is Nick's fried rice. No, it's Nick approved fried rice. Interested to stay in your new resort when it's up and running, says Andrew Rogers. Yeah, I'm working hard on that. That family who owns the property that I will be renting, they've headed off for Songkran, so we're not moving forward at all. But but I'm picking out, beds and sheets and tables and artwork and logos. And I mean, there's a lot to do before we get it open. But it will be open, and it will definitely be open for the next high season. Kelly says Vancouver is a bit overcast, a little bit of rain in 2 or 3 hours. Air quality is pretty good, but it's only 12 degrees. I don't do 12 degrees anymore. I do anything 20 plus. That's it. I came to Thailand because I love the weather. I love the heat. It doesn't get much hotter than it is now. It's going to be about 33 degrees in Phuket today. And for the weekend, we've got bright blue skies and not much haze at all. So pretty good life down here at the moment, but certainly hot. And I even use the aircon for a few hours each night just to cool the room down. Just scrolling down, catching up. Richard says, I'm done with Chiang Mai, moving. Smoke from 7 orifices, says there's a Reese harvester machine. Look, there is no doubt that if these governments stumped up some money and paid for these farmers to have access to some harvesting machines that will till the agricultural waste back into the soil, and they just improve their agricultural practices, most of this problem would go away. But at the moment, people are turning a blind eye to what is a very serious problem indeed. Thug Life says, I believe chemical processing of sugarcane is an alternative to burning off. Again, they're just using old agricultural practices that they've been using for centuries. And it's going to take some strong arms and some strong leadership and some cash to get them to change their way of life. But what they're foisting on to millions of residents in these areas, the damage that this is doing to Chiang Mai specifically, but the whole of northern Thailand's tourism is incalculable. And it's going to take them the rest of the year to recover from this, and then it's all going to be on again next year. Thailand Heron says, it's not just crops being burnt, you see many random blackened areas along the road in the north. Okay, I'm not sure what point you're making. Han says, sorry to miss Songkran this year. We'll be on Bangla Road for Songkran in 2024 though. Oh dear. 4 degrees in Liverpool now, staying warm under my duvet. This is from Quinn Nair EFC. Don't know how I pronounce that. Liverpool in England? Okay. Burning just makes harvesting the sugar easier. Yes, that's correct. Question from Antoine, and I'll get to Scott's question in a moment. If you're ordering logos, just must have selected a name for your resort. Are you willing to share the name of your future resort? Well, I suppose I can. At the moment, it's going to be called Blue Moon Bay. And no particular reason. I just ended up with hundreds of names of all sorts of things. But as I'm moving towards it, we're sort of zoning in on this Blue Moon Bay. Partly because it looks out over a section of Phang Nga Bay. Beautiful view. I mean, it's not on the bay, but it's there in the distance, and it's like the main reason that the people would come to the resort is that beautiful view. Nice and quiet on a dead end, no passing traffic, and you will see the sunrise and the moonrise over that section of Phang Nga Bay every single day. Burning costs nothing, says Dana. That's right. Harvester machines or chemical processing sounds expensive. How do they get these farmers to change their processes? Well, simply because they have to. If they don't, the damage that it's going to be causing this region, there's only going to be so many people that will be putting up with this smoke every year. And the extent and the amount and the health problems caused by this smoke, certainly foreigners moving there for things like retirement or tourism, they won't be going there, and that's for sure. AI can generate plenty of interesting resort names. Steph and I did consult ChatGPT, and some of the names we were considering were nominated by ChatGPT. It's a very, very clever piece of software. If you know how to use it properly, and you don't take it too seriously, and understand that from time to time it will make mistakes, it's a really good resource. Can you hear the vacuuming? She's not going to stop. She's not going to stop for you. All right, Liverpool, UK. Thank you very much, Quinnery. I don't know how to pronounce that. It's not Big Agri that's incentivising the burning, is it not? KJ, that's right. They've got these farmers on contracts, long-term contracts, and it's making it very difficult for them to do anything other than the cheapest way of getting their plantations ready. The cat lovers colony, well, there will be cats there, there's no doubt. If you're having problems hearing that noise in the background, just tell me and I don't know what I could do. I can tell her to turn the vacuum cleaner off. But things have to get done. Question from Being Frank on Ipswich Town. 6 weeks or 4 weeks stay without a visa. What did the government decide? Okay, it's back to 30 days. From the 31st of March, the 45-day visa exemption finished, and it's back to 30 days. You can apply for a 30-day extension. Most countries can anyway. But the visa exemption program is back to 30 days. And visa on arrival has gone from 30 days, which they had during the promotion, and it's gone back to 15 days for people from places like India and China. The Grumpy Old Man's Resort. No, not just grumpy old men. We'll have women, of course, and anybody can stay there. It's sort of going to be run less as a resort and more like an elaborate Airbnb, if you like. These are not hotel rooms. These are massive apartments, like 150 square metres. So they're quite big spaces, and I'm fitting them out really nicely, and you will enjoy it. Maybe if the local sugar refinery would pay the farmers more. Well, there you go. I mean, it's a deep problem that's only going to be sorted out with a lot of people talking, and I'm afraid the governments involved are going to have to throw some money at it. There's just no other way around it. Buy food without sugar. Well, there you go, Ian. I couldn't agree more. Thais seem to love everything with sugar in it, and I've really gone to an almost completely sugar-free diet, and I've actually lost 3 or 4 kilos just cutting sugar out of my diet without doing much else. I have the odd ice cream. Whenever I go up and visit Steve for recording the Grumpy Old Men programs, and Grumpy Old Men is on tomorrow morning, 9 a.m, on the way back there's just one little shop I stop at and I always buy an ice cream. Well, I only go up every 2 weeks, and it's my little joy, my little moment of pleasure. Let me have one moment of pleasure. Smoke from 7 orifices. You need to explain why you call that. Some people avoid cats and businesses with cats because they have allergies and no cats can randomly attack. These cats don't randomly attack, and I can assure you that the cats will be staying away from the guests. They'll probably, I don't know, there's a huge jungle just behind the resort going up the mountain, and they'll go wandering around there and play with the elephants and crocodiles and things living in the jungle there. I still love the Thai teas made with carnation milk and drenched in sugar. Oh my God, those orange, what makes it orange? It's nuclear waste, I think. Now I'm going to go back to a question that was posed by Dina is a killer. Dina is not a killer. But people will be told that there are cats living at the resort, and of course I understand that some people will suffer from allergies, but the cats are just not going to get in the way of anybody. They might come and say hello to people once a day, but they're all sort of street cats that have just decided to live here because I feed them twice a day. They're not sort of those cuddly, talk to everybody cats. I think we've spoken enough about cats. Going to go back to can't give up chocolate, Tim says Nimble Jack. Have to agree there. Now, where is Scott's question? This is a difficult one. I might have to just think about this. With your wonderful audacity to become a hotelier at the young age of 64, amongst working full-time and having your channel, how do you prioritise and maximise time management? What advice? Well, I mean, I suppose there's a few things. One is you really have to love what you do. If you don't love what you do, she's going to become an internet star, a YouTube star. I just know. By the end of next week, she'll have her own OnlyFans channel. So yeah, you have to love what you do. You've got to really enjoy doing what you do. And I'm in a very lucky position in my life where my day job, where I write news, my YouTube channel, which takes me 2 or 3 hours a day. I mean, it does take a lot of time to do those daily shows. It's not just turning on the camera and magic happens. I mean, I have to research it, prepare it. And I mean, it's not really returning much in the way of financial remuneration at the moment. I hope it does in the future. And it's a long game. It's a marathon, not a sprint, if you're thinking of starting a YouTube channel. But if you don't love what you're doing, you just got to do something else. You're only going to get one go at this, and you need to make sure you do it with at least a smile on your face. And when you wake up in the morning, you need to want to get out of bed and do what you're doing. That's the first thing. And the other thing I would say is keeping yourself healthy. It's all very well having health insurance, but that's really the band-aid at the end once you're sick. The most important thing once you're my age is not getting sick in the first place. And that by far is the most important way to prepare yourself for each day. So I would warmly recommend doing everything you can to maximize your health. You need to do some exercise. You need to watch your diet. You need to be careful what you're putting into your mouth because like a car, if you put in faulty or bad petrol, the car isn't going to operate as well as it should. So yeah, loving what you do and also maintaining a good health and just making that not just a thing you do for a couple of weeks, but a lifetime commitment to a healthy lifestyle. Now, I know there are a lot of people that do come to Thailand that love all the things that are probably not included in a healthy lifestyle. That would be eating way too much Thai food. Thai food is amazing and tasty, and it's tasty for a few reasons. What it's fried in and what is added to the vegetables and the meat. I do enjoy my Thai food, but I eat less of it now than I used to. I certainly eat less rice, which is pretty much as good as eating cardboard. So yeah, I'm eating less rice, eating less Thai food, and if I do eat Thai food, I try and pick and choose what I eat that makes sure it hasn't got too much sugar in it. Yeah, so I am eating much more things like fruits and yogurts, really gnarly toasts. I don't put butter on my toast anymore. I mean, there's a million little things that I do, but I certainly enjoy what I eat. I still love eating, and from time to time, I'll go and have a roast or a big Thai meal, and I'll thoroughly enjoy it. I just don't do it every day. But avoiding some of those bad habits that some expats get into here and maintaining good health, I think, is pretty important. Hopefully that's an answer to your question, Scott. I mean, I really can't think of anything beyond that. I mean, obviously you need a certain amount of oomph and ambition, and I've still, I don't know, seem to have plenty of ambition. This is probably going to be my last big business. I'll be taking out a 10 to 15 year lease on the business, and by the time I'm 75, I'm probably going to be less inclined to be wanting to run a hotel like this. Or I'll be very happy to continue running it, but I'll be leaving the operation to younger, smarter people. So we'll just have to see what happens. But at the moment, thoroughly enjoying my life and looking forward to the opportunity. I was about to scroll through with my finger, but I'm on the laptop here, so it doesn't work like that. Let's go back to your comments before I get on to some more news. And one of the stories we're covering will be the cost of airfares and how they're not set to come down, but in fact set to go up. Dina needs more screen time on your show. Whenever I turn the camera on, the cats go pshong for some reason. They seem to know it's horrible. Meow, I'm having a flashback. Okay, housekeeper in the background. Yes, I know, Ian. Don't worry, don't stress. I understand the cleaner's here, and she's doing a great job, and hopefully she's not causing you too much concern. Will you be moving your pool and duck to the hotel? Well, the duck will be coming for sure. There's a pool there, a proper pool, like in-ground concrete pool. Not sure how transportable. I mean, the pool I've got is, as I keep on telling everybody, a 29,000 baht 6-metre pool above ground. It's from Intex. Best investment I ever made. It's been set up for 2 years. And apart from just getting a little bit of a sort of the black mould on the sides, which I just sort of wash off, there's no signs of rust or anything. And includes a filter and the ladder. I'm in there every day. And I just don't know how transportable it is. I mean, I'd have to empty it, pack it up, and take it to the new resort. There's plenty of space, but there's a pool there already. And I'm not sure if the above ground pool sort of quite fits into the oeuvre that we're trying to portray. Maybe it'll be my little private pool in one corner of the resort. Oh, okay. Being Frank on Ipswich asks a very serious question. And I'll temper this by spelling out the word because YouTube does not like you talking about this topic. Have you ever considered suicide, Tim? I certainly hope not. No, I'm very, very lucky to have fairly robust mental health. And I've had that all the way through my life. And whenever shit happens and whether stress happens, I seem to have been able to cope with it. And coping mechanisms, I think, just answering your question, Scott, is another thing you need to have, especially living here in Thailand. It can be fairly stressful sometimes trying to do business. And you certainly need to be doing business in a different way, not necessarily harder, but you just need to do things differently. And no, I've never considered that, and it is a situation that I know does affect a lot of people, and mental health, I think, is an ongoing problem for a lot of expats living here in Thailand, and because there's really very little network for them, it is something that a project that Living Waters and TNT are looking at to try and set up some sort of counselling aimed specifically at foreign expats that are suffering from issues relating to mental health, and something that we'll be talking about soon. So hopefully that answers the question, but definitely not. Antoine, question, did you do research into a Bangkok meetup with us? Look, there's a few problems. Nick and I, who I suppose are the main people you know from TNT, are based in Phuket. Getting up to Bangkok at the moment is very expensive. I don't know why it's so expensive, but it is. So I'm not sure if it's going to happen in Bangkok. I'll have a chat to Nick about it during the week. We need to make some decisions about this. But I'm not sure if it's going to be a meetup. Excuse me, let's have a little bit of water. Drinking lots of water too, that always helps. So watch this space, Antoine. Being in Thailand, says Andrew Rogers, you must keep busy. If you don't, there are many negative trappings that can make life more difficult. It's one of the top 10 things I say when we talk about retiring in Thailand. People get very focused on visas, get very focused on renting condos and villas and stuff. Having something to do is much more important than both those things. If you want to live here long term, you will be able to sort a visa out. Sometimes you may need the help of a visa agent, but you will be able to stay here long term if you're determined. Having the right amount of cash helps, of course, and I understand that. Making sure you've got a great place to live, that's also important. But having something to do is even more important than both those things. And so if you are thinking of retiring here, I've got Dusty saying hello. She's the are you going to come? We'll see if Dusty will say hello. Do you want to come and say hello, Dusty? Oh, she's heavy. This is one big cat. Used to be the office cat at Fazwaz in Kamala, and she ended up coming to live with me, but she's a very nice old cat. A little bit tubby and not particularly happy being held. There you go, Dusty. I think Dusty's about 9 or 10 years old now, but with the new young cat, gets out and has some fun with her. It's given her a bit of a pep in her step. Okay, being in Thailand, you must keep busy. Yes, so I think that is definitely really important, keeping busy. So you come here for 10 days and you have a fantastic time. You see some sights and you go to the bars, blah, 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 blah. You have a fabulous time. Living here, retiring here is a different kettle of fish. And you really need to have a good think about what you're going to do and where you're going to stay. Because you can't go down to the bars every day. You are going to get eventually bored with that. And there are health implications, obviously, if you're going to be drinking heavily and doing it every day. Owning a resort is okay, but leave the running to a professional. Well, thanks, Stefan. I've actually got some people who are professionals who know what they're doing. And it's not really like a 30, 70, 100 bedroom resort. There's only 7 apartments. Some are bigger than others. And thank you very much. Scott D, much appreciate your ongoing support, Scott, and also your intelligent questions. I think it adds to the program, and I appreciate your financial support and also your ongoing moral support. So, Stefan, also at some stage, people are going to be doing a project for the first time. They're going to go out of their comfort zone. They're going to do something that they really want to do. And they may have people around them that have got certain amounts of expertise that's going to help them make it happen. So I understand what you're saying, Stefan, but at the end of the day, it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. I've done a lot of research on this, and it's only very small. I'm pretty sure I can handle it. And hopefully, over the years, get better as I go and learn new skills. Because if you're not learning new skills, then what the hell are you doing? Being in Thailand, you must keep... Oh, we've done that one. Tim is fully sick, says Ian. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Or own channel with a camera collar around the neck so we can see where she goes. Now, that would be really interesting, putting a little camera on the cats. Because during the day, they do vanish. And I think I know where they go. They go over the road to an abandoned house next door, and I'm pretty sure that they go there and just find a quiet spot, and they know they're not going to be interrupted. It's safe, and they have a bit of a sleep. Nighttime, they're out playing, and sometimes they'll come into the room and try and wake me up. But cats are generally nocturnal. Mark Ryan says, don't forget, if cat bites in Thailand, there's a chance you'll get rabies. Well, sure. If you got soy cats that are exposed to rabies, less prevalent than it used to be. And these cats are not the sort of... I mean, they give you a bit of a gentle love bite from time to time, but nothing that's going to... They can't really pierce the skin. They're just not big enough. If these cats were that big, they would have eaten me long ago, I'm sure. Thai food is super healthy, says Meta Da. It's not super healthy at all. It's really tasty, made from fresh ingredients, and there are a lot of things about Thai food that could make it very healthy. 250 baht. That's from Stefan. Oh, thank you very much, Stefan. Much appreciated. And I acknowledge your generosity, and hopefully I answer your questions as honestly as I possibly can, but really appreciate your support. I appreciate all your support. I appreciate the fact that you even bother tuning in. I wouldn't worry too much about cats. Thai food. I get sidelined. So, look, Thai food... you just got to be careful what you're eating. Some people don't like eating MSG, and there's a lot of MSG in a lot of Thai food. I don't believe that MSG causes any health problems. Some people do, but if you want to avoid eating MSG, you need to make sure the restaurant knows that, and you ask them not to add any MSG. Kurt says, Tim, do you get to read all of your emails during the week? So if one writes to you, there could be an answer on Saturday. Look, thanks, Kurt. That's an interesting question. Nico, I'll get to you in just a moment, Nico. I'm just trying to sort of... This is why I have Nick on Saturdays to handle the comment section. I haven't even got to the flight airfare story yet. Yeah, look, you can write emails to timnewtontoday@gmail.com. Couldn't make that any easier. timnewtontoday@gmail.com. If you want to ask a question on Saturdays, just add the question into the stream. If you say question in capitals, I'll see it and I'll do my very, very best to answer it. People sort of write to me sometimes saying, could you give me help with this? And I want to know how to do that. And we're not really a concierge service. I'm hoping that sometime in the future we'll have those services available. But I'm just too busy at the moment with my day job, doing this, and then plus the resort sort of looming coming up. And a lot of work going into that. I'm spending 6-7 hours a day just working on everything that's going to put the resort together. So yeah, timnewtontoday@gmail.com if you want to send me an email. Question, do you regret not getting a bit of alcohol down your throat from time to time? Well, I've never had a drop of alcohol knowingly. And speaking continually, by the way, it does take its toll. Excuse me. No, I don't miss alcohol. I mean, I go to bars from time to time, have a drink with friends. But I'm usually drinking soda. That's my sort of drink of choice. Sometimes with a bit of lemon in it. But no, I've never drunk alcohol, not even when I was a teenager. So it's not something I'm going to miss. And now at 64, I can't imagine I'm going to start. I don't have any problems with people that drink alcohol. The ones that drink in excess and it becomes a problem, I'll sometimes take them aside and have a chat. But I mean, I'm not going to try and change their life. That's not my job. But I'd perhaps bring to their attention that their habit might be getting to a level where it's going to cause them some sort of harm. But it's not my job to interfere in what people want to do in their spare time. It's only a concern to me when they're friends and I can see that there is something going on that needs to be addressed. Successfully running a resort requires some hospitality business background. Thanks, Stefan. I'm not really sure whether that's completely correct. There's always going to be somebody who's doing it for the first time. And I haven't owned a hotel before, but I've run Airbnbs. And I do have a really good network of GMs and people who've been providing advice. There she is again. And just perhaps don't worry. I'm going to be really well researched on this, and I'm going to be giving it my best shot. So, as I said, it's more like a glorified Airbnb than it is a hotel. G'day, Tim. Resort name, Blue Moon Bay. Sounds sweet. Perhaps also inspired by Elvis or Billie Holiday's song. No, I sort of came up with it independently. I did search for Blue Moon Bay, worried that there might be 17 resorts around Thailand already using that name. There was some Full Moon Bay, but didn't find any Blue Moon Bay. iPhone disconnected to, and seems to be okay. Nick in Drag. What? No, it's not Nick in Drag. No. 20k subs soon. Amazing. Great work. Good luck with the resort. Nico GM, who's sent in 25 Australian dollars. Thank you very much, Nico, and happy for you to be involved. Appreciate your generous support. Okay. Uncle Roger loves MSG. Interesting. I'm not sure if Nick is going to be throwing MSG into his special fried rice. We'll find out. Because you're a cat lover, Tim, please visit my cat rescue sanctuary in Ban Pha Rayong. I'm about 5 hours from Ranong. I'm a long way from Rayong. Michelle, I'm actually not a cat lover. I have 3 cats, but these cats found me. I didn't find them. I've actually had dogs most of my life, and I suppose I would have been called a dog lover, but I sort of like all animals. So I'm equally a dog and cat lover. It's just I happen to have 3 cats at the moment. But good luck with your sanctuary. And what's the name of the sanctuary? Did you tell us the name? it's all these things have disappeared. Michelle, could you tell us the name of your cat sanctuary in Rayong? And thank you very much for the question. How's the weather now in Bangkok and Pattaya? Will be hot or congenial during Songkran? How can I do this easily? I don't know. It'll be hot. I can guarantee. One thing you can say about Songkran is anywhere in Thailand, the weather is going to be hot. Sometimes, but rarely, it rains during Songkran. I don't think we've got any rain on the way for Songkran this year. Do you get frustrated sometimes when you're living in Thailand, asks Darren, e.g. corruption, politics, state of the country, differences in way of life? How do you keep your sanity? Darren, all those things are occasional frustrations. Now, the key with them is you can either get upset about them or you can do something about it. In other words, do something positive, or just don't let it worry you. Because if you let all those little things bother you, you'd go insane. If you keep on saying, oh, we don't do that in my home country, then you're not really getting the best out of living in Thailand. You're living in a foreign land that is old and ancient, has got customs that go back centuries. Now, things like corruption are not just a Thai phenomenon, it's sort of generally an Asian phenomenon, or a certain kind of fairly overt corruption. But corruption exists everywhere in the world, sometimes more under the table than over the table. But once again, if you've got an issue with corruption, you're being asked for a bribe, or you're using services that could be seen as feeding the corruption chain, then you need to have a good think about whether you want to be part of it. And in Thailand, they just call it business. They don't see it as something particularly bad. Now, there's high-level corruption, and we can see that the police and the government have been doing a lot lately about cracking down on immigration police, general working police, who have been caught being corrupt at a level where it's seen to damage people and also damage the image of Thailand more specifically. So I think you're going to see less overt corruption, but it's just going to go under the table, like it has in many Western countries. A lot of politics. Well, look, I live in a country run by a quasi-democracy, a former military junta. Does it affect me? No. Are there army tanks rolling down the streets? No. Have they done a fairly good job of running the country over the past 7 or 8 years? Yeah, I think they've done a fairly good job. Are they democratically elected? Sort of, but perhaps not to the high level or some standards that people in some other countries might hold a democratically elected government. So, again, I comment about it, I talk about it. I don't get frustrated about it, I work around it. And part of my job doing this program every day is to tell you what's happening and hopefully to sort of look between the lines and say, well, the minister said this, but this is really what he means. Anyway, the thing is, if you get frustrated about it, then you're going to continually be frustrated. So either avoid it, find ways of working around it, or just don't let it bother you. That's my suggestion. I love the bar girls in Pattaya, says Jason Finch. And good luck to you, and good luck to the girls. Ian McNamee, daylight savings has ended now in New South Wales, Victoria and Tasmania. It just usually finishes just before Easter, doesn't it? Or the Sunday before Easter? Anyway, daylight saving. Yes, I noticed there's an hour difference in when I contact my family. Hello from Tucson, Arizona, says Ree Reed. Hope it's a lovely day there. I love Songkran, says Jason Finch, along with the bar girls in Pattaya. Richard Cabeza. You can't... scrolling so fast I can't sort of keep up with it. It's gone. I'm sorry, Richard. It's all gone. Oh, here we are. You can't reason with a drunk. Stay away from drinkers. They're high maintenance and not worth of the effort. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, says Richard. What is MSG, monosodium glutamate? It's sort of known in Asia as a flavour, and a lot of Asian food has MSG in it. I've done a lot of research, and I've been involved in some tests with people eating, using MSG, and seen the results. Quite surprising. Gruntmax, replying to Darren, says, "You're better off losing it before you get there." Cats are total grifters, says Vince. Yeah, probably. I love them. Love their independence. And I love the fact that they're just extraordinarily efficient. Serial killers. Heaven forbid if they were a metre long. Question from Being Frank on Ipswich Town. Do you think that Thailand is going down the plug hole? If I was in the Foreign Office, I would ban all tourists and especially dogs. Okay, I'm not exactly sure where you're going with that. Do I think Thailand's going down the plug hole? No, not at all. I think when we first come to Thailand, there's this feeling of, wow, this place is amazing. And you don't have to duck down, don't worry. She thinks she's avoiding the camera, but she's not. So I think that first time we come to Thailand, we think it's fantastic. And the people that are coming to Thailand for the first time now are having that same feeling of, wow, what an amazing place. But Thailand, like every other country in the world, has, stumbled forward and evolved over the past 10, 20, 30 years. And some people don't like the fact that some aspects of life in Thailand have changed. You might say, places like Phuket are getting overdeveloped, or places like Pattaya, there's too much of this or too little of that. But you don't have to live in those places. If you want the real Thailand, there's still plenty of undiscovered beaches. Not undiscovered, but less populated beach areas. I mean, I know I can go to the north of Phuket, still on the island, and I can go to a beach today and not see a single other person. That's just here on the island of Phuket. There's 32 beaches here. It's not as if you have to go to Patong Beach. Yeah, that's going to be busy. Kata, Karon, that's going to be busy. Down Nai Han, that'll be busy. Kamala, Surin Beach, yeah, there's going to be plenty of people there. But there's another 20 or so beaches you can go to where you're not going to have to see people. And then you can go beyond Phuket to Phang Nga. And you've got another 100 kilometres of wide stretches of beach through Nat Thai, then up through Tham Luang, then up through Khao Lak. And that's just in this immediate area. And if you sort of like cities, you don't have to live in the middle of Bangkok. Yeah, I mean, because it's a big, bustling Asian city, it's getting more expensive to live there. So just move out a little bit further. So I think we just always have these rose-coloured glasses that when we first came to Thailand, it was amazing and we want it to be like that. But you can still find it. You've just got to look a little bit harder. And a lot of other things have improved in Thailand. A lot of the services provided to people have improved. I think generally the quality of driving of Thai people has improved. The quality of their cars have improved. The internet is fast and cheap. I mean, there's a lot of things that are really, that make it worth living in Thailand and why I'm here. And the weather remains spectacular. Hopefully that answers your question, or my thoughts anyway. Let there be water, says Jason Finch. Yes, we do. You're waiting for Songkran, of course, so you'll have to wait a few more days. But if you want to really celebrate water fights, there's probably no better place to go if you want to, like, 3 or 4 days of just complete mayhem than Pattaya. They do it really well there. Chiang Mai, they do a really good Songkran. Of course, Bangla Road in Phuket. But there's a time later in the afternoon where the ground is covered by about that much water, which has got that powder in it. It's got, I don't know what it's got in it. And people soaking or refilling their guns with the water on the ground and then firing it at other people. I'm surprised people don't lose their eyesight. Wear goggles if you go to Songkran, my goodness. I'll sort of be staying home. I'll get out and about and see what's happening. Maybe get some video for my my YouTube channel. But I'm not going to be going out firing my water gun. I did in the first years I was here, but no, I just don't do that anymore. Songkran in Krabi was fun. I get frustrated with the overcrowded sidewalks. Used to drive me nuts, says Thug Life. They don't do sidewalks particularly well, or footpaths as we call them. So, yeah, they don't do sidewalks well. I'd agree on that. Good morning, Tim, says Robert from a hot and sunny Cha Am. Hope you're well. Thank you very much. Very nice part of the world. I like Cha Am. I have a steering wheel down my pant. It's driving me nuts. Malih, M-A-L-I-H. Hi from Sydney. Is that real? The Russian tourist in Phuket now about 360,000? And if correct, what is the impact on prices and accommodation? We've probably had more tourists through Phuket, but they don't all arrive and stay. I mean, the vast majority go. Yes, some Russian people are trying to settle here in Phuket. They're setting up home, and they're trying to get away from the conflict. Good luck to them. It has pushed up the prices of visa services, villa rentals, condo rentals, also land and condo prices. Real estate property prices have really skyrocketed over the past 3 or 4 months. So that's here in Phuket. Pattaya, I've heard, is much the same situation. Now, we have had a slight drop over March of the number of tourists coming to Phuket, and that's pretty much around Thailand. Too much talking. That's why I need Nick here to do some of the talking. So I think what we have seen, I'm trying to work out a percentage, it's been about a 25% drop in March of the total number of tourists coming into Thailand. So that's how things have changed. And we will get that surge during Songkran. What's going to happen after that? I don't know. I think there'll be a bit of a flat line throughout the wet season, and then it might start kicking up again. A lot of people in the tourism industry, a lot of people working in the hotel industry are working very hard to try and keep the numbers coming, which gives me a good excuse to go to this story, and it's from the Bangkok Post. It says airfares could spike after OPEC cut. So let's see what the story says. Airlines are expecting higher airfares than usual during the upcoming low season as oil cartel OPEC and its allies announced production cuts. OPEC plans to lower oil production by 1.16 million barrels per day starting next month, which has seen a surge in prices. And the head of commercial at Thai Vietjet, which is one of the local airlines here, said the situation could affect ticket prices in the market during the next 3 to 6 months, with the low tourism season typically between June and September. And domestic routes to southern Thailand, led by Phuket and Krabi, have had the strongest load factor lately at 85%, but flights to places like Chiang Mai and destinations affected by PM 2.5 air pollution received fewer guests than usual. Well, I suppose that makes sense. Certainly over the next week, Phuket's going to be very busy. Here, I've got 2 people staying with me during Songkran, so it's just going to be a little bit busy in the pool for the next few weeks. So it looks like air prices, flights are going to be going up, where a lot of us were hoping they were going to come down with OPEC reducing the amount of its oil output. It looks like the fuel prices are going to go up, and that's not what we want to see, particularly at the same time as we're trying to increase the number of tourists coming to Thailand rather than have less. Okay, so that story there from the Bangkok Post. I'm off to Pattaya today to get truly corrupted, says Dam1. Morning all from a red hot Jomtiem. Be a nice walk along the beach today. And let's just scroll down and see what's happening. Question. They predict that it will be around 2040 before foreign visitors reach 39.8%, 39.8 million. I think is what you're trying to say, not percent. Once again, I suspect those stats are right. 2040. So that's, I predicted during COVID that it would take about a decade for tourism to pick back up to the 39.8 million. And we're seeing definitely a completely different demographic of tourists coming to Thailand at the moment. That will continue to change. How it changes is very unpredictable. And at the moment, for example, the island of Phuket nailing its tourism strategy to a war in Eastern Europe, to me, sounds completely unsustainable. And I think we need to come up with some better tourism practices to promote tourism to other parts of the world for people to come here to be tourists. So I think it's going to be at least it's going to be a decade until we get those tourism numbers back up. But there's so many things that we can't predict, so many things we couldn't predict last year. This whole Russian surge into Thailand wasn't predicted, but here we are. Why am I going back to that? I don't need to. Try Google Translate on your phone. The hotels are better than Phuket. There's more to do with the bar scene. Sanctuary of Truth and other sites were very nice. Okay, I'm not sure what you're comparing Phuket to. The hotels are better. So Snives has made a comment saying that there's something better than Phuket. I'm just trying to scroll back and see what you were referring to. Now that I've been all over Thailand, I enjoy Pattaya the most. So he's saying Pattaya is better than Phuket. Look, that's a debate we could have all day. But, I mean, they're two very, very different places. And it's like comparing apples and oranges. I'm actually having a chat with a gentleman called Pete, a YouTuber, and we'll probably broach that question. I mean, there is a bit of a sort of undisclosed rivalry between Phuket and Pattaya, but my feeling is they're completely different places. Pattaya is a bit more one-paced, where Phuket's got a lot of dimensions. If you like the bar scene, I mean, there's probably nowhere better than Pattaya. But Phuket has got a lot more residential areas, a lot more rainforest. Of course, it's got the beautiful beaches. It's got the islands. There's just a lot more to do here, and it's got the airport on the island. But if you like the bar scene, I imagine Pattaya would be hard to beat. KJ, Tim, will Blue Moon Bay cater more towards long stays or short-term stays? If the latter, was the process of getting a hotel license arduous? I don't need a hotel license. There's less than the required number of rooms. So as I said, it's going to be more of an elaborate Airbnb. And I'm not focusing on short or long stays. I'm going to cater for both, and we're going to see how it goes. Because first thing is it's a business. So we'll just have to see how we go. By the way, it's not going to be cheap. It's probably going to be up in the 4 or 5 star sort of region. And it's a fairly premium product. And that's the way we're aiming it. And there's not a lot for families to do there. So I think probably people who are looking for a quieter time in Phuket are the people who are going to enjoy it the most. Too much talking killed the passion. Okay, thank you. Jack saying good night. I'm trying to book my room by phone, but she only speaks Thai. Oh, I think, Ian, you've got a problem there. The hotels in Pattaya are better than Phuket. I don't know how you could say that. There's just a hell of a lot more hotels in Phuket than there are in Pattaya. And you've got everything from Airbnbs to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 star, beach hotels, guest houses. My God, I don't know how you could possibly say that. That's going to start a cavalcade of condemnation. Gruntmax, Phuket has gone downhill big time in the last 30 years. Phuket has changed a lot in 30 years. I'm not sure if it's gone downhill. If you actually look at the Google Maps and sort of zoom out to the satellite photo, you'll see that most of Phuket is still undeveloped. There's still a lot of jungle and rainforest. At this place, this new resort, behind me, there's 300 or 400 metres of just virgin jungle that'll never be built on. And there's a lot of that sort of space around Phuket still. But there are parts of Phuket that are busier than they used to be. I mean, Patong, that used to be sort of lined with palm trees, that's just a very, very different town now. But yeah, I don't know if it's gone downhill, but it's certainly changed. Being frank on Ipswich Town, question. Pattaya is cheaper in every respect, but Phuket has rip-off mafia taxi drivers. Your choice, my friends. I don't think that was a question, that was a comment, but thank you anyway. Yes, the taxi mafia here are a big problem. As expats, we find ways around that. I haven't used a taxi here for 10 years, and I wouldn't for a whole lot of reasons. But you do have to find workarounds and find a way to avoid the taxis, for sure. No doubt about it. Travelodium, Travel Magazine, David, it's just cheaper in Pattaya, not better. Okay, fair comment. But I would say that I have a pretty cheap lifestyle here, but I'm not in Patong, I'm not in Qatar, I'm not on the west coast. If you want to live in Phuket, you don't live in those areas, that's for the tourists. You come over to the east side of the island if you want to live here. And here you'll find the costs half or less what they are on the west coast. A reread says, I prefer Isan. Hans has beachfront property in Con Lane City. No, I don't think you can't have beachfront property. You might have lakeside property. The Snives, my fiancé and I fell in love with Pattaya. The only thing we didn't like was the beach road full of working girls. Is Sunday the best day of the week to book flights? Look, everybody's going to have their own theories about this. I usually try and fly if I have to for a holiday or for business. I try and fly on Tuesday, Wednesday or Thursday. I usually find the fares cheaper on those days, but that's just what I've noted. Domestically, I sort of usually prefer Thai Vietjet. That's where I start. But I'll check all the other flights as well. But I usually try and fly Tuesday, Wednesday or Thursday. That's just what I've seen. You have to get up pretty early in the morning to full Tim. Yeah, that's probably right. You hit the nail right on the head. Koh Samet is the best value for me, says Dam1. Again, if you want to go to a fairly natural tropical island that you might say was like Phuket 30 years ago, Koh Samet would be a great place to go. But certainly, I don't call Phuket a tropical paradise anymore. I call it an urban island. But if you do want the tropical paradise experience, you can still find it here. You're just not going to find it everywhere in Phuket like you used to 20 or 30 years ago. Everything was better back in the 90s. Again, I think we all have these rose-coloured glasses when we look back in the past and things were better in the old days. People have been saying that for time immemorial. But I don't see it like that. I see a lot of things are much better now than they used to be, obviously with technology. There's a few controversial ones, which I won't get started on now. Question, are you God-fearing, Tim? I would be if I were you, my friend, although you do something nice, man. Am I God-fearing? No, I'm not God-fearing. I'm atheist, so I don't fear any gods at all. But good luck to you if you do and you want to follow a religion. Again, I'm very happy for you. Just I don't want to know about it, and good luck to you. Why are there so many cats in the bar areas? I can't answer that. I was going to go to Turkey, and when I was researching Turkey, Istanbul used to be Constantinople. Apparently, cats are everywhere there. Cats are a thing in Turkey. I was trying to get over there for Anzac Day this year, which is a big day for Australians, on April the 25th. It's not going to happen. Then I was going to get up to Hellfire Pass. That's now not going to happen. So, I've just got a lot happening in my life, and that is mostly in Phuket at the moment. So, a lot of the things I plan, I can never get to make them happen. Being a one-man band, I've got limited resources. I've only got 24 hours a day. And despite being fairly busy and having plenty of ambition and health, I can't do everything. I was younger in the 90s, says Stefan. Yeah, I think we were all a bit younger in the 90s. Rose-coloured glasses were awesome when I was a kid. Chiguan I just answered your question. Probably do a few more. Oh, look at the time. My goodness. I didn't even get to that huge Pattaya human trafficking story. So I might have to do that as a separate issue tomorrow. 3 more comments and then we'll say goodbye for the day. And thank you, by the way, to everybody that stuck it out over the past hour. Hans, there's a place called Party Beach near Kon Kan, but it's a muddy pond. Oh, it's a bit of a shame. Question from John, Jon. John, will your hotel, I've got to stop calling it a hotel, report foreign guest passport details and visa stays to immigration? It sounds like a lot of paperwork. Actually, it's very easy to do. And yes, we will be reporting foreigners when they stay in a room there by law. So yes, we will be doing that. It's not a lot of paperwork. There's a website there and it takes 20 seconds. Is there an Anzac Day ceremony in Thailand, asks Key J. Anzac, a very important day for Australians and New Zealanders. Anzac stands for, I hope I get this right, Australia and New Zealand Army Corps, and refers to the troops that headed off to fight for the British in World War One. And one of the places they served was at Gallipoli, for which a lot of Australians and New Zealanders look back with horror and remembrance at the sacrifices made by those people at that beach, which has now been renamed Anzac Cove in Turkey. And if not on Anzac Day one year, I will get there. It's a bit of a pilgrimage that I feel I need to take as an Australian. Yes, there are plenty of Anzac Day services around Thailand, particularly, of course, with the Australian and the New Zealand expats. There's usually the Australian consulate here in Phuket used to hold an Anzac Day service. They haven't for the past few years, partly because of COVID, but also for whatever reason the current Consul General hasn't organised it. But I will be doing something on Anzac Day, and if there is a service, I'll certainly be going to it. Okay, one more question. Is there any more questions? Enjoy your Easter weekend, guys. Yes, it's Easter Sunday tomorrow, so a few of us going out to have an Easter Sunday lunch. There better be Easter eggs. That's all I can say. Usually, Easter eggs are pretty hard to find here in Phuket. You used to be able to go and find them in the supermarkets, but not lately. I went looking for hot cross buns yesterday, and the place that usually has them didn't have them this year. Lady Pie, I blame you. What's going on? I used to enjoy your hot cross buns. I'll be going there today to see if they've got them, because I do enjoy my hot cross buns. People scratching their head saying, what the hell is a hot cross bun? They're very tasty, that's what they are. That's about it. Have ever the government of Thailand led a program to educate the Thai people how to cross the road and follow the traffic laws? Look, when it comes to the rhythm of the traffic, the rhythm of the traffic here is different. It's not better or worse, it's different. Once you get used to the rhythm of the traffic, it's fine and it's quite safe. But yes, they do cross roads differently, and they do all sorts of things differently. But because we are driving here, we have to change our way of driving to their ways, not expect them to change to what we prefer. And there was something about see you at the yacht club. Yeah, that's if it happens. And finally, from Thug Life, hello to you. Is there a Grumpy Old Man tomorrow? Yes, our Grumpy Old Men program is all ready to go tomorrow. It'll be up at 9 a.m. Thai time, and me and Steve having a chat about stuff. I missed this story. I was really hoping to get to it. Where is it? Yeah, this one. Find and share Bangkok's best places to poop with Key. Key is the Thai word for shit. And explore a city, pin a toilet, be a hero. Loved this story. This is from coconuts.co, by the way. That's a pitch that greets users who download Key, an app available starting today that lets people pin locations their favourite public toilets. I think that's an app that could do fairly well. So good luck. I'll probably do that story on Monday on TNT. And good luck to them. That sounds like a good idea. Finding a usable public toilet used to be a bit of a problem and still is a little bit when you get out of the main cities in Thailand, but it's much better than it used to be. And certainly around places like Bangkok, Pattaya, Hua Hin, Chiang Mai, Phuket, public toilets are usually very high quality these days. Thanks, Tim and all. Have a great Easter, says Thug Life, and probably a pretty good place to leave things. Have a great Easter. Thank you very much for joining us on Easter Saturday. I truly appreciate your support. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, it doesn't cost you anything. Anybody can be involved with our programming. There's no memberships. You're all welcome to join in. We love doing this on the weekends, and I'll do it again next week. I think Nick, as far as I know, is coming along next week. The cleaner will be here again next week. The cats will probably be here. I've got one at my feet. And you'll be here as well. Have a great weekend. Happy Easter, and thanks for joining us.